title is Racketeering in Medicine. If the representatives betray their constituents, the constituents may resort to self-defense. That's from the Federalist, number 28. People come to this country because we have the best health care in the world. So says conservative radio talk show host Rush Limbaugh. Is this statement true? If not, why would people spread this kind of propaganda? It is true that the United States uses a lot of high-tech medicine in treating cancer and heart disease. But deaths from these too keep going up. We've had a war on cancer since the early 1970s, but it is clear now that the National Cancer Institute, quote, retards or suppresses genuine cancer research, unquote. On the heart disease front, we have the conventional doctors and their lackeys in government trying to get doctors who do chelation therapy to unclog blocked arteries, while 800,000 people continue to die each year from heart disease. The facts emerging from all quarters are that our healthcare system is not the best in the world from the perspective of the patient. Our medical establishment is not greatly concerned about the death of patients. Over 160,000 people die every year from wrong drug combinations administered by doctors and hospitals. Our healthcare system gets away with murder. The problem is the almighty dollar. Doctors are businessmen first. Another problem that infests our healthcare system is that we have been brainwashed by our education establishment into believing it is credentials, not knowledge, that counts. Few in our cancer establishment got their positions through scientific achievements. Age-adjusted cancer rates have been rising for the last 15 years. The cancer research that we pay for through the American Cancer Society is, quote, outright scientific fraud, unquote, said Erwin Bross, Ph.D. Food and Drug Administration required drug studies cost $200 million to complete. Drugs in the United States are marked up over 800%. Some 80% of the medical procedures used in conventional medicine have never been proven. And 44% of all bypass surgeries are inappropriate. And this figure comes from the Journal of the American Medical Association. Conventional medicine has a monopoly in healthcare, and they don't act in the public interest, said Ron Adugas. We have an FDA that believes the public doesn't have the knowledge to make informed choices about healthcare. This is laughable, since one of FDA's goals is to deny us access to certain information. Medicine has become a whore, and the pharmaceutical industry is its pimp. FDA has over 14,000 claims of adverse reactions to Prozac in its files, but it has done nothing. Yet when a batch of foreign-made tryptophan became contaminated, FDA ripped the product product off the market. Now that the contamination incident has been rectified, tryptophan is still off the market. Why? Because it competes with Prozac. The FDA jumps to the tune of the big drug companies. The Institute of Medicine states that 25 to 33% of all medical services are of no benefit to patients. Most health organizations are in reality political organizations. The number 2 PAC contributor is the American Medical Association. American doctors charge twice as much for the same services as do Canadian doctors. The United States is number 1 in healthcare spending. And U.S. drug prices, of course, are the highest in the world. But don't we have the best trained and best equipped doctors in the world? Aren't they all highly educated, and don't they want the best for their patients? No. We have been fooled. We have been duped. And like obedient lambs, we continue to be led to the slaughter. The problem is medicine is a business. But apologists and good capitalists will ask, shouldn't doctors be allowed to make a profit? Yes, of course. But this is a mind thing. When money-making holds the central place in the mind, the person becomes mercenary. It's human nature. And human nature is greedy, self-centered, for the one. Community living and civilization require one to be loving, trusting, and capable of working with and getting along with and giving to others. Putting a price on health and life is dehumanizing, to say the least. Most doctors have done their stint in medical school and are too busy with their practices to crack a book, learn a new technique. Some are just too lazy to learn anything new. In conventional medicine, doctors need not think too much because the consensus tells them what to do. Most doctors today are lousy diagnosticians. Notice in hospitals, when the treating doctor doesn't know what is wrong with a patient, he calls in all kinds of specialists to name the disease. What happened to the general practitioner who knew it all? Today's conventional doctor is too lazy to learn the new medicine, complementary medicine, which includes anything that works. Complementary medicine has become a threat to conventional medicine. To handle this threat, quackbusters have been mobilized to attack and slander those doctors who are curing their patients. These quackbusters and their counsels against health fraud use lies, political dirty tricks, the FDA, and SWAT teams to try and put complementary doctors out of business. Nowhere in all this conventional medicine intrigue is the patient's health taken into account. Patients' positive stories in and out of court are considered anecdotal. If a patient is cured of cancer by a complementary doctor, it is said that the patient didn't have cancer in the first place. Those who seek complementary care are said to be lured into the most unlikely healthcare systems. Doctors David and Sharon Sneed in The Hidden Agenda call meditation quackery and fraud. They call homeopathy a questionable technique and not Christian. This is what the patient is up against when trying to seek care that will cure. The Sneeds actually say that just because something works does not mean it's true. In other words, since conventional care can't cure you, but another modality can, you should stay with the consensus, die with the consensus, because the other way is not true. Bleeding was the consensus medicine of the 18th and 19th centuries, and hundreds of thousands of bloodless bodies is the legacy of modern conventional medicine. Bleeding never cured anyone of anything, ever. We the people are harmed by decisions that please those with money, power, or influence. Is this factionalism? Maybe. The problem is that we Americans don't believe that the rich, powerful, or influential are any better than us. But the fact is, they do. Establishments seek to maintain the status quo. Prevention of disease is a threat to our healthcare system, which is tangled up with government grants, industry money, patents, prestige, and power. There are also high-tech medical death techniques involved. Over 50% of our current major medical services offered by our healthcare system are counterproductive, says Erwin Bross, PhD. Dr. Bross also states that no cancer studies have ever shown that any high-tech heroic therapies have ever cured more patients than non-heroic controls. Establishments uphold their own interests through politics, deceit, and fraud. Establishments can't police themselves. Erwin Bross, PhD, says the National Cancer Institute is guilty of fraud. It is directly responsible for the increases in cancer deaths due to cover-ups and fraudulent statistical methods. It has been many years since education has been the main business of the elite universities. Our children and college students are not taught how to learn. And true avenues of learning, like correspondence courses, are called bogus by establishment, prestige-loving suck-ups. True learning is accomplished with a book, a notebook, and an apprentice situation, and then putting into practice that which one has learned, constantly fine-tuning this learning. Knowledge, not credentials, is what counts in the treating of patients. American medicine is a racket. We have doctors who know nothing about nutrition, giving expert opinions on radio, television, and before Congress. This rule of fake experts is destroying the educational fabric of this country. But these fake experts went to the right schools. They should know what they're talking about, but they don't. What are we to do to improve quality control? How can we make sure doctors do their homework before they open their mouths? First, we must admit that our healthcare system doesn't promote health. We have actually a disease care system. Disease equals big bucks. And what about licensing? All our conventional doctors are licensed. Isn't this a guarantee of quality? No. Licensing is not a guarantee of quality. Licensing restricts competition and choices for the consumer. It's a form of protectionism, which causes higher prices. Quote, "The public welfare is rarely advanced by licensure laws." George Bernard Shaw called all professions a conspiracy against the laity. Certification may be better than licensure. In the end, licensure boards end up protecting the practitioner and not the public. Licensing laws have never, ever deterred charlatans. Licensing has a neutral effect on quality, and licensing laws can't regulate unethical behavior. But surely our doctors are the best educated in the world? No. Our doctors are the best indoctrinated in the world. In many areas, conventionally trained doctors are dunces. Colleges charge big bucks to educate our doctors. They are failing. From first grade to postgraduate work, our educational system is flawed. Modern education should be a book, a notebook, and apprenticing tasks. Today, we have drill and test situations, which leads to rote learning. Our graduates are dysfunctional. They learn doctrine, politics, and untrue dogma. We are turning out businessmen, not doctors. We are turning out politicians, not doctors. These professionals have been taught to deny reality. With all this, we the people suffer. Most conventional scientific publications can't be believed anymore. They're filled with politics and scientific fraud. In their zeal to debunk that which they don't agree with, these people have contaminated their library of resource material. The truth is no longer available. Who to believe? Gary Knoll, PhD, is fond of saying that if an establishment has been wrong so many times in the past, when do we stop believing them? Establishments are expendable. If it were revealed tomorrow that the Roman Catholic Church was wrong on all counts, would it disappear? What about the National Cancer Institute or the American Cancer Society? No. These defunct establishments would have their supporters right to the very end. This is the cultural lag of which political conservatives are fond of. The time between invention and application. It was time 10 years ago to stop routinely doing bypasses and treat heart patients with chelation therapy. Yet, still today, we have uninformed patients jumping onto operating tables and allowing their doctors to cut them open like chickens instead of getting chelation therapy. Every ethical doctor is supposed to inform his patients of all options and alternatives. But this is never done. Conventional doctors don't tell their patients about competing therapies. For decades, American Medical Association doctors were forbidden to associate with chiropractors. The AMA was finally convicted in court of restraint of trade in this instance. This was another example of conventional doctors not giving a damn about their patients. How long are we going to allow this racketeering to go on? How many more of our bodies must be sacrificed on the altars of money-hungry and uninformed doctors? In this country, ultimate political power resides with the people. Yet, whenever we, the people, battle an establishment, it is an uphill and frustrating affair. No bill in any political forum is to pass into law without public scrutiny. Many laws were never meant to be passed because they are unconstitutional. Yet this happens every single day. Then we, the people, must bear the financial and emotional costs to repeal such laws, if indeed they are ever repealed. This is not constitutional, and it is not fair. This is certainly not democracy. Do we need a constitutional protection squad to oversee all proposed legislation? Since our Congress is filled with lawyers, they know that certain laws by prior restraint must not see the light of day. Yet politics blinds these lawyers to the facts, or their ideas do so. We live in a screwed up country that is run by screwed up people. There is something wrong with how we choose our representatives, administrators, senators, and presidents. There's also something wrong with the way we allow professionals to practice. We must destroy the mafia-like hierarchy in medicine, which has led to our present state of racketeering in medicine. The end.
Hi, this is William Morrow. Are you one of those people who join a health club, and after they have your big, overpriced annual membership, you notice that you're on your own with little or no results even after all the promises? Then the website Personal Trainer is for you.
Thank you very much, William H. Morrow III.
So you lost another argument with a conservative, right-wing Republican. He talked over you. He screamed and yelled. He brought out the Bible. He thumped it. He quoted scripture to you. You were lost because you came at him with facts. Nothing but facts. And you expected that would make you look good. That would make you win the argument, but it didn't. You know why you lost the argument? You know why you're going to lose your next argument? Because you don't read Censored. Censored, a 30-year-old newsletter that shows you how to defeat a conservative. Read Censored, and you'll have all the ammunition you need. Every time you get into an argument with a right-wing conservative, so-called Christian. Censored. That's all you need. Read it and defeat a conservative.
Greetings, listeners. Let me speak to you for a moment about the foundation of our entire organization, Newsletters Censored. It was founded by our mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, in 1977. It discusses the 5 taboos of American life: politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media and the press. It reveals the kind of truth that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? We are living in the end times, so in order to defeat a conservative and save America, you need Newsletter Censored. Go to www.newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form page, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription. This is James P. Madonna of Megalife 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet.